So Stephen Bachman from Stephen B. Lettering has been very gracious to help me with some things, one of which is a Mother's Day present for Miss Tinette Rocha. She probably won't see this yet because she's out having breakfast with her family. It's her favorite color, red, and lots of colorful flowers for someone who's Boricua loves colors. The second one I have in here, very special. This is Isaiah 49:25, the latter half of it. And this one is for my mom. Happy Mother's Day. Go ahead and take that.
Oh, thank you.
Now, the final one for Mrs. McClellan, okay, is the first portion of this proverb, which is one of my favorites, in Proverbs 12:4, and that is for her. And I wanted to show you all the work that Stephen's done. It's very, you can't see the silver in the lettering there, but he's added some silver in there to give it some shimmer. But this is a very special gift for the Mrs. McClellan. So when she gets in with my son, she'll get to see that. So thank you, Stephen Bachman. You're an absolute brother. I love you dearly, and I will be talking to you very soon. Oh, well, it looks like I have both of them here. Hello. Come here, son. Come up front. Grab that. See the flowers right there? Give that to your mommy. No, come here. Look, Ian. Flowers right there. Give that to your mommy. Go give that to your mommy. Tinette flowers. Go take those.
No.
Yeah. I also have something else.
Thank you.
This is from Brother Steve Bachman. He's a clergy artist.
You look nice. What is your little person in bunch?
One more.
Oh, thank you, my love. And chocolate. I don't know about me some chocolate, but it wasn't good enough.
All right. So now I can get back to work here. Folks, contact Stephen B. Lettering, and he's at stephenblettering@gmail.com. You can find his Etsy page, Stephen B. Lettering. Awesome guy, love him. And I don't have any new news on but please keep her in your prayers. And so if you could all bow your heads, Heavenly Father, Lord, thank you, and brethren, Lord, please bring restoration to Cherished Val. Cherished Val, she's suffering, and her family is still faithful, Lord. Brother Todd Bell is definitely a soldier for you, Lord. He is a blessing to many. Lord, we continue to ask for the providence here within this tiny church. We ask for growth. We ask you to guide this message today on mothers. Lord, we thank you for all the blessings you shower upon this tiny church. We pray this in your son's name. A lot of y'all don't know Naomi, the mother of Ruth. Her name actually means the pleasantness of Jehovah, which is kind of neat. And we're going to be reading through Ruth today and bringing out key points about motherhood. Naomi is, she went through some difficult times, lost her husband, lost her kids, but she was still a mom to these two young ladies. We're going to go into detail on that. There's a couple of things that we're going to bring out because the book of Ruth has a lot of information, and specifically the redemption of the church, which is the underlying theme of the book of Ruth. Redemption of all of the type of redeemer. So without further ado, we're going to read, we'll actually go ahead and read through verse 5 here. Now it came to pass in the days when she's not over her husband, even though it's been 10 years. We're going to actually see that here in just a little bit. The two boys, Mahalan and Chilon, they get married to Moabites. Now, if you don't remember who the Moabites were, they were very lascivious people. They were fornicators, adulterers, they were pagans, they were gods. So she's a mom uprooted from her home. She's left Bethlehem, Judah. Now she's in a land that she's not really happy about. She's in a new place. There's a lot of things that are probably stressed, that's for sure. Especially that her sons just took Moabite with her. Now she wants them to, be, good, godly men and raise up children, but she knows what Moabite women are like. And of course, shortly after, she loses these two boys after 10 years. So there's a lot of soreness within Miss Naomi. So continue on verse 2. Rose with her daughters-in-law that she might return from the country of Moab, for she had heard that in the country of Moab has visited his people and giving them bread. Wherefore she went forth out of the place where she was, and her two daughters-in-law with her. And they went on the way, returned to the land of Judah. And Naomi said unto her two daughters-in-law, Go and return to her mother's house, and the Lord deal kindly with you, and ye have dealt with the dead and with me. The Lord grant you that ye may find rest, each of you, in the house of her husband. And then she kissed them, lifted up their voices, and wept. Naomi is trying to mourn the loss of her husband and her sons, because it just basically brought back all and still be a good mother to these young ladies, even though they are or in-laws. She is professing the spirit of adoption to these children. She's also fully aware that she's also being cautious. So she wants to send them on her way. That way she can move on and grieve. Moving on, we're going to read through 13. And they said unto her, Surely we will return with thee unto thy people. So now they're being kind to her. And Naomi said, Turn again, my daughters. Why will ye go with me? Are there yet any more sons in my womb? Turn again, my daughters, go your way, for I have a husband. If I should say, I have hope, if I should have a husband also tonight, and should also bear sons, would ye tarry for them till they will grow? Would ye stay for them having husbands? Nay, my daughters, for it grieveth me much. Thank you. For it grieves me much for your sakes that the hand out against me. When Naomi was alone, in her mind, she was husband and married children. Bearing children is the glory of God in women. Ruth, where thou diest, will I die, and there will I be buried. The Lord do so to me, and more also, if aught but death part thee and me. When she saw that she was steadfastly minded to go with her, then she left speaking unto her. Mother's mother, basically, is what you're seeing here. A child receives the love and doesn't want to part. Ruth did not want to leave. She was so consumed by of Naomi. Something else happened. With this Moabite woman, Ruth, verse 16. I'm going to read that latter portion of it. I will lodge with thee, thy people shall be my people, and thy God my God. We're seeing some conversion happen now. And now this is something you all should be aware of regarding Mosaic law. And if a stranger says, so we're going to go over a couple of things about Mosaic law. And again, be reminded that we are under a new and better covenant. And if a stranger shall sojourn among you and will keep the Passover of the Lord according to the ordinance of the Passover, and according to the manner thereof, so shall he do. He shall have one ordinance, both for the stranger and for him that was born of the land. Be ye not as your fathers, unto whom the former prophets have cried, saying, thus saith the Lord of hosts, turn ye now from your evil ways and from your evil doings. But they did not hear nor hearken unto, saith the Lord, Zechariah 1, 3-4. So when we are grafted in, and this is something that we've talked about previously in that including the Seal 13 law. And the point of the message is to show that Ruth walked away from the Moabite world to become a Jew. And there's obviously no circumcision for women in the Judaic culture. So this bond that she's putting herself in, or desiring with Naomi, is what's giving her the ability to be grafted. And it even more so as time progresses in the book of Ruth, we're going to see something very prolific regarding one of the laws of bringing in somebody else from another, well, specifically Moabites. Naomi's being a godly woman and took in Ruth as her own and loved her as her own. Verse 19. So they two went until they came to Bethlehem, and it came to pass, when we read through 22, when they were come to Bethlehem, that all the city was moved about them, and they said, is this Naomi? And she said unto them, call me not Naomi, call me Mara, for the Almighty. I went out full, with the Lord hath brought me home again empty. Why then call ye me Naomi? Seeing the Lord hath testified against me, and the Almighty hath afflicted me. So Naomi returned to, and Ruth and the Moabitess, her daughter-in-law, with her, which returned out of the country of Moab, and they came to Bethlehem in the beginning of the barley harvest, which is also very symbolic of. But what we want to pay attention to here, she's a woman. She has normal feelings. Every one of us say the darndest thing in these types of these situations. She just lost her husband and her two boys, everything. And she's, been blessed with Ruth being in her life, but This is human nature. She's a mom. There's no evidence that God was. This is, they had a famine. Elimelech passed away. Her sons passed away. This is not judgment of God upon her. She's just reacting as a normal person would. It's natural. The untimely death of the boys. Ruth needed to become a Jew, so there's a key aspect of what is transpiring here that just had to happen. Although she still referred to as a Moabite. This is on past behavior of Jews. Even mighty ones like Solomon, Chilon, could have easily fell into the whoredom with the Moabite gods. Now, of course, Chilon was Ruth's husband at the time. So again, all these things had to transpire so that we could start the lineage of Christ. Again, I'm going to repeat that so you understand where I'm coming from. This is speculation on my part, based on the behavior of the Jews, even mighty ones like Solomon. He fell in his wife, so he went so opportunity to mend some situations with Naomi. Bring obviously, when you come into the household of a man like Boaz, there's an opportunity to bring home food, especially for a widowed woman. She has nothing, okay? And traditionally, they are supposed to be taken care of. Widows should be taken care of. We have an opportunity for grafting to. So their hope is that Ruth would become married. Moving on, chapter 3 through 18. And she went and came and gleaned the field after the reapers, and her hap was to light on a part of the field belonging unto Boaz. She was deliberately doing this. Who was of the kindred of Elimelech, as he read him, and said unto the reapers, The Lord be with you. And they answered him, The Lord bless thee. Then said Boaz unto his servant that was set over the reapers, whose damsel is this? And the servant that was set over the reapers answered and said, It is a Moabitish damsel that came back with Naomi out of the country of Moab. And she said, I pray you, let me glean and gather after the reapers among the sheep. So she came and hath continued even from morning until now, that she tarried a little in the house. And then said Boaz unto Ruth, Hearest thou not, my daughter? Go not to glean in another field, neither go from hence, but abide here fast by my maidens. Let thine eyes be on the field that they do reap, and go thou after them. Have I not charged the young, they shall not touch thee. And when thou art thirst, go unto the vessels and drink of that which the young men have drawn. This is a very interesting passage, because what was coming to mind is Christ talking about drinking of the living waters to the so if you remember that story, keep that in mind when you see that. He's giving her the opportunity to partake. And then she fell on her face and bowed herself to the ground and said unto him, Why have I found grace in thine eyes, that thou shouldest take knowledge of me, seeing I am a stranger? And behold, it hath fully been showed me all that thou hast done unto thy mother-in-law, thine husband, and how thou hast left thy father and thy mother in the land of thy nativity, and art come unto a people which thou art to heretofore. This is what Christ talked about as far as discipleship is concerned. Christ said, those who cannot forsake all these things cannot be loved. What Ruth has done, she's forsaken everything. She's been kind and gracious to Naomi, and she's done all these things. She is portraying herself to be a great disciple. And the Lord recommends they work and a full reward to be given of the Lord God of Israel, under whose wings thou art come to trust. What an interesting. I had just done that short message this morning on He is Almighty. Matthew, where the woman with the poisoned blood came and touched the fringe of Christ. The fulfillment of prophecy in Malachi 4. Under the wing. Interesting. Moving on, and we're again reading till 18, and then it said, "Let it be find favor in thy sight, my Lord, for that thou hast comforted me, and for that thou hast spoken friend made. Though I may be not like unto one of thine handmaids." And Boaz said unto her, "At mealtime, come thou hither, and eat of the bread, and dip thy morsel in the vinegar." And she sat beside the reapers, and reached her part she did eat, and was sufficed and left. Up to glean, Boaz commanded his young men, saying, "Let her glean even among the sheaves, and reproach her not." So he's giving her the best of the best. Let her fall also some of the handfuls of purpose for her, and leave them, that she may glean them and rebuke her not. And so she gleaned in the field until even, and beat out that she had gleaned, and it was about an eleph of barley, an ephah of barley, is a bushel. And she took it up and went into this. That realized the Lord's blessings are still there, although her heart was afar off from grieving. So this is what we see here: is Naomi's excited, and Naomi said unto her daughter-in-law, "Blessed be the Lord, who hath not left off his kindness unto the dead." And Naomi said unto her, "The man is near of kin unto us, one of our next kinsmen." So she's giving her some helpful information to understand that there is a great opportunity for her to regain her life. All of them regain and start over child on Elimelech. Okay, we're reading through 23, and Naomi said, "And it was good, my daughter, that thou go out with his maidens, that they may meet thee not in any other field." So she kept fast by the maidens of Boaz to glean unto the end of the barley harvest and to wheat harvest, and dwelt with her mother-in-law. Chapter 3, we'll read 1 through 5. And Naomi, her mother-in-law, said unto her, "My daughter." Again, she's not referring to her as the daughter-in-law. She is claiming her. "Not seek rest for thee, that it may be well with thee. Is not Boaz of our kindred, with whose maidens thou wast? Behold, he winnoweth barley tonight in the threshing floor. Wash thyself, therefore, and anoint thee, and put thy raiment upon thee, and get thee down to the floor, but make not thyself known unto the man until he shall have done. And it shall be when he lieth down that thou shalt mark the place where he shall lie, and thou shalt go in and uncover his feet, and lay thee down, and he will tell thee what thou shalt do. And she said unto her, all that thou sayest to me, I will do. Okay, so the whole premise of the threshing floor is where all these people get together and they're going to thresh the wheat. Get rid of the chaff and get the wheat ready for making it look pretty. We revise it in the likeness of his resurrection. This is a outward symbol of our being prepared for the wedding day and the wedding feast. And this is what you see with what Ruth is going through right now. Ruth was instructed by her mother to be presentable. Boaz already taken a liking to her, already to be. Now the adoption of the Moabites is going to be this feet uncovering is a measure of submissionness. So she, by uncovering his feet, she is putting herself in a position of being submissive. But there's a lot more information we're going to cover here that's really quite fascinating. So 6 or 9. Then she went down onto the floor and did according to all that her mother-in-law had bade her. And when Boaz had eaten and drunk, and his heart was merry, he went to lie down at the end of the heap of corn, and she came softly and uncovered his feet and laid her down. It passed at midnight that the man was afraid and turned himself, and he behold, a woman lay at his feet. And he said, who art thou? And she answered, I am Ruth, thine handmaid. Spread therefore thy skirt over thine handmaid, and thou art a near kinsman. Now, I want to stop right there for a second, because there's a couple of things that we're going to cover in this passage. This is a custom, it's a poor custom to marriage. The skirt being cast over the head of the wife, which is like a veil. Now, the term skirt, we're going to get into that in detail in just a moment, because there's some controversy about men wearing skirt. And now, when I looked up behold, thy time was the time of love, and I spread my skirt over thee and covered thy nakedness. Yea, I swear unto thee, and entered into a covenant with thee, saith the Lord God, and thou became mine. Ezekiel 16:8. So that is a passage to verify that this is a tradition, the covering of the skirt, if you would. Yes, this was a tradition of men for many generations. In fact, many still adore it. And if you remember why underreaches were commanded to be worn in Exodus 28:42, because some of the long strides up to the mountaintop, a long shirt, or as the Bible calls it, a skirt, would either reach the knee or the ankle. Breeches were necessary to maintain the man's modesty. So what under breeches are is it's underwear from the waist to the knee, covering the important parts. So I want to stress this because we don't want to stretch the breeches into pants. And I know there's a lot of the men wear this. Let's see, chapter 2, verse 10. Then she fell on her face and bowed herself to the ground and said, unto him, why thou hast found grace in thine eyes, thou shouldest take knowledge of me, seeing I am a stranger. And Boaz answered and said unto her, it hath fully been showed me all that thou hast done unto thy mother-in-law since the death of thy husband, and how thou hast left thy father and thy mother in the land of the nativity, and that thou knowest not here or two. Did I read that passage already? Please forgive my I did. Okay, we're in chapter 3, verse 11. I'm sorry. And now, my daughter, fear not. I will do to thee all that thou requirest. My people doth know that woman. Okay, this is where it needs to be. Ruth the Moabitess, a virtuous woman. Well, let's look at that for a second. We all know where to find the virtuous woman's Proverbs 31. Proverbs 31:11. A virtuous woman, her husband trusts her. Proverbs 31:11 also says she does not need to be spoiled. Verse 12 says that she does good things for him. Verse 13 says she seeks things that last in her home. The latter portion of 13 says she's not afraid to work. Verse 14 says she has no problem traveling to get provisions. Verse 15 says work needs to be done no matter day or night. For her house, she's at it. Verse 16 says she has the knowledge to buy land for her family. Verse 17 says she has the strength to work. She's confident that she can help other people. She's gracious in that manner. She has no worries of weather because she's close to her family. Verse 21. She dresses herself respectfully. Verse 22. She weds only godly men and is respected for it. Verse 23. She has the ability to make things or work for additional things. Verse 24. She has presented herself as a strong, honorable woman. Verse 25. When she speaks wisely and kindly. Verse 26. She is always tending to her home and knows no downtime from being a wife, a mother, and a homemaker. Verse 27. She is praised by her children. Verse 28. Her children grew up well. Verse 29. She fears the Lord. Verse 30. And her works are praised. Verse 31. So Naomi is being professed to be a virtuous woman. Verse 12. Well, that time Naomi took it. Ruth was professed to be a virtuous woman. She was converted, and she's quickly become a godly woman. Is what you see. So, just a mere short time that Ruth was with Naomi, there was a lot of was pressed upon her. It's about 10 years. We were married to Chihon. Moving on. And now it is true that I am the near kinsman, howbeit there is a kinsman nearer than I. Go through 18. Tarry this night, and it shall be in the morning, perform unto thee a part of a kinsman well. Let him do the kinsman part. But if been to thee, then will I do the part of a kinsman to thee, as the Lord liveth, lie down until morning. And she lay at his feet until morning, and rose up before one could know another. So she wasn't touched. And he said, let not be no shame into the floor. Also he said, bring the veil and hold it. And when she held it, he measured 6 measures of barley and laid it on her, and and she went into the city. Now, this is a small dowry with her mother-in-law. Our dowry sarcastic. Who out there, my daughter? Because now she's home. She hasn't been spoiled. She's bringing provisions, and she said, told her all that the man had done to her. And she smashed the barley, gave he me, for he said to me, go not empty unto the mother-in-law. And she said, sit still, my daughter, until thou know how the matter will fall. For the man will not be in rest. So he's going to be stirred until he have finished this thing today. So again, Ruth remains pure. Naomi is well pleased with Ruth returning home on soil. This is clearly redeeming the image of Christ. Okay, chapter 4. Then went Bates and sat him down there, and Boaz came by, unto whom he said, Ho, such as one, turn aside, sit down here. And he turned aside and sat down. And he took 10 men of the elders of the city and said, sit ye down here. And they sat down. Sounds like a wedding's about to start. He said unto Naomi, this is come again out of the country, and that is our brother Elimelech. And I thought to advertise thee, saying, buy it before the inhabitants and before the elders of my people, if thou wilt redeem it. Listen carefully. Redeem it. But if thou wilt not redeem it, then tell me, that I may know, and there is none to redeem it beside thee, and I am after thee. And he said, if I will redeem it, then, said Boaz, what day would buy us the field of the hand of Naomi? Thou must buy it also of Ruth, the Moabitess, the wife of the dead, to raise up the name of the dead upon his inheritance. Pay attention to that. And the kinsman said, I cannot redeem it for myself, lest I mar mine own inheritance. Redeem thou my rights to thyself, for I cannot redeem it. Now, what they're talking about is marring the inheritance is a law of bastard children. So when they bring in a Moabitess, we're going to get into that later, the Deuteronomy 23:2, regarding bringing somebody else within the Jewish culture. This is what they're concerned about. They're going to lose their inheritance because they're bringing in a Moabite. And the kinsman said, I cannot redeem for myself unless I mark my own inheritance. Redeem thou my own, for honor is redeeming. Bring these things, a man plucked off his shoe and gave it to his neighbor, and this was a testimony in Israel. Therefore kinsman said unto Boaz, buy it for thee. So he drew off his shoe, and Boaz said unto the elders and unto all the people, ye are witness this day that I have bought all that was Elimelech's, and all that was Chilon's and Mahlon's of the land of Naomi. Moreover, Ruth, the Moabitess, the wife of Mahlon, have I purchased to be my wife. I apologize, I switched it to Mahlon and Chilon, the wife of Mahlon. Verse the wife, to raise up the name of the dead upon the inheritance, that the dead be not cut off from among his brethren. Place ye are witness this day. And all the people that were in the gates and the elders said, we are witness, and the Lord has come into Israel, and like Jude did and in the Ephesus in Bethlehem, and let the house be like the house of Perez, whom Tamar bare to Judah of the seed the Lord shall give thee of this young woman. So Boaz took Ruth, and she was his wife. And when he went into her, the Lord gave her conception, and she bare a son. And the woman said unto Naomi, Blessed be the Lord, which hath not left thee this day without a kinsman, that his name is in Israel. And he shall be unto thee a restorer of thy life, and a nourisher of thine old age. For thy daughter-in-law, which loveth thee, which is better to thee than 7 sons, hath borne him. And Naomi took the child and laid it in her bosom and became nurse unto it. And the woman her neighbor gave it a name, saying, There is a son born to Naomi, and the child, his name is Obed. He is the father of Jesse, the father of David. Now there is generations of Perez, and Perez begot Hezron, and Hezron begot Ram, and Ram begot Amminadab, and Amminadab begot Nahshon, and Solomon, and Solomon begot Boaz, and Boaz begot Obed, and Obed begot Jesse, and Jesse begot David. What we've seen here in the book of Ruth was a kind of Adam, Naomi being a kind of church. Ruth is the image of the believers. Boaz is a kinsman redeemer like Christ. In fact, I want you to see something very particular. The word redeem it in chapter 4 was stated 7 times, which makes it holy, perfect. Eve, the mother of all creation, and Naomi, the mother of the line of Christ, the Redeemer, woman who has blessed us with her virtue and charity. Now, Deuteronomy 23:2, the law of the bastard child requires 10 generations to enter the congregation of the Lord. Okay, so what I just read from 18 through 22. Ruth entering in until David is 10 generations. So that law in Deuteronomy 23:2 is fulfilled.